Whoa, Cowboy Nation. What is Micah Parsons got traded to the Packers for 2 first round picks and a defensive tackle in Kenny Clark. And let's go ahead and get this. We have seen this be a stalemate for a while, but at no point did I feel like any of us would have thought that this trade would actually happen. A trade in general, not just to the back, but in general, would have happened. Like, what? That's bonkers. I'm not gonna lie. I don't. Who's seen any of this come? Not just that, but also trading him staying in the same conference as well. This is really bonkers. This is really crazy. Someone of this top tier talent. Cause we seen when Myles Garrett wanted to leave. They gave him the money. Now he's a humble soldier. TJ Watt was like, over here my contract. Guess what? He got the money. He's back. I was like, hell, they were even able to fix something with Trey Henderson and basically get him at least on board, at least for 1 year. You got this young pass rusher who is probably at the same level as all them guys, and whatever happened, that's just crazy. And the crazy thing is that this also shows you how much Micah Parson, that you get 2 first round picks and a really good defensive player in Kenny Clark that will help Dallas, because they've been having trouble basically in that spot of like D tackle, that whole interior side. But to give a guy that could basically change a whole game by himself, because that's literally what he is. Like, you ain't got to go on Madden to know he's gonna have one of them big X's up there, because he's just gonna change the game. And this is wild. This is crazy. And I was like, for the Packers side, I was like, hey, their defense has always been something that's been like, been the crutch of their problems, for the most part. Is that their defense is here, it's like good, not good, comes on, and so at least you got one constant piece on that defensive side that that's like, cool, we ain't ever got to figure that part out. That's solidified. And whatnot, and also this right before, I was like, I know I'm all over the place, but I was like, this is right before the season, which makes it even like, like he ain't have time to, he got to like, he got to learn plays and stuff like that, but you just gonna tell that dude just to go. That's all you're gonna do. The only thing that you might be worried about is like, like when these holdout happen and the conditioning and all that other stuff, someone getting injured. But for the Packers, I was like, look, I think this is more of a win for the Packers than it is for Dallas. If this was say another team, I would say this would be a win-win for both teams, to be honest. Like, cause I'm like, you don't want to have the disgruntled guy there. You send him somewhere else. He's a top tier pass rusher. He goes over there, cool. And then over here, you got as much of the value you can. 2 first round picks and and another Pro Bowl type player. Cool. But this is so much way worse for Dallas. And the reason I was like, I'm not gonna really talk about the Packers. We know what they got. They're good. If Jordan Love can stay healthy and not do any of them dumb mistakes, I was like, they're good to go. The reason this is crazy, and I will say too that I'm like, other teams. I have to figure out. We're going to have to figure out what the other teams also, because to me, I was like 2 first round picks and a top defensive player, and I'm like, what other team could have did that where it wouldn't hurt them? You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, so many other teams, I'm like, oh, they're so close there, or they're like in some, Anyway, the reason to me this is worse for Dallas, I was like, way worse for Dallas, is now it's really what y'all doing. It's already been like, what are y'all doing? Because it's like, once again, we got a dude that's in the contract year, waiting to the very last minute to basically get signed and whatnot. And it's like, okay, but all of us just assume, like how we did with the Dak and CeeDee Lamb, that they're just going to wait until the umpteenth time to do, for the umpteenth time to wait until the very last minute. But now it's like, okay, you didn't want to give him the money that he's worth. You let it hold on to this length again. Now I was like, now you send off a player, but you get in a player that also you got to figure out in your system and let them also go, and it's gonna be a while there. and you still got to hit on these 2 first-round picks. Like, yes, the ammunition is great, but it's like, because you have not done this earlier if that's the case. Because it's like they've been going on for a couple months now. But it's also like, what are you signaling to your team? Because I was like, cause now what is your team? Like, everybody, like, we at least thought, like, okay, Dallas, Dak back healthy, their offense got more weapons. I was like, the line will get better. The new defensive scheme, all this stuff would be like, oh, okay, they at least could be the playoff team. Sure, we always know that they're good enough to be in the playoff team. Championship was never really realistic, but at the same time, I don't think it's a crazy juggernaut in the NFC. In a way, I was like, there's a lot of tough teams, but I was like, to me, they're all around sort of about the same. Outside of maybe like, of course the Eagles, and I want to say probably we'll see. I was like, everybody's sort of compromised, to be honest. Even though the Eagles lost talent, I was like, the Lions lost their coordinators. I was like, Vikings got a rookie quarterback basically. At the time, I was like, Green Bay, I was like, loving the rest of the squad. And I was like, they're many receivers. You can go down the board where it's like, oh, Dallas could be right in there. I'm not saying that it's going to be a bad team. I don't think it's going to be something that is like, oh man, they're going to be 4 and like 13 or something like that. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that Micah Parson is somebody that can at least give you like 2, 3 wins just by himself. Maybe not even more, how he just sort of wrecked games. There was a time span last year where he was keeping them sort of in games with the amount of fumbles and all this and these sacks and all this other stuff that he was doing for, while they had Coop out there. You traded a prime top, and not even like just a player in his prime. It's a guy that's in the prime at the top of the game especially in his spot, like and not in his spot, but also of all the defensive players. Now it went from like, okay, you got Dak, who I think Dak is about like a top 10 quarterback, but what the limit of that is. I'm like, I was like, he's a weapon in itself on defense, and you basically got rid of him. Like, what does that do for the defense on that side? I was like, when he was having that whole spat with like DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah, and I was like, and then for him to also be shipped out and not wanting to get out, now they just start making it look more of a reflection on Dallas in itself. I was like, Jerry, you lost again. I was like, I guess maybe you want to be in the headline, and if that's your main point, then you're always going to be in the headline, and I guess you win from that standpoint. But, I was seeing this coming? No, not at all. Not a trade. I thought it was just going to be like, on week 1, 3 hours before kickoff, Micah Parson signed his deal. That's what we just thought it was going to be. Or, I was like, I don't get this, because it's not like he wasn't worth the money. I was like, this is crazy. We're going to have to see what the more details are about all this, but hey. I was like, hey, look. But I was like, all that preseason stuff, because I was like, I've been away, just not doing videos. But, talk about a way to come back. Yeah, I was like, there's always will be more news that will come out of this, and maybe will make more sense, that it won't make any sense in the end. Anyway, till then.